Good afternoon / good morning, everybody. For those of you who have not met me or vice versa, I am Bob Beeson. I am NHSA's Senior Director of Government Affairs, and welcome to today's NHSA Advocacy Lunch or Breakfast or Brunch and Learn series. Today's session is on empowering your policy councils. A number of you, I'm guessing, were probably on the call that we had last month that my colleague Blair Hyatt did, which had to do with activating your parents. This is really kind of building off of that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in quick and go through this. This is short and sweet. A lot of it is really a refresher for most of you. And we will share these slides with everybody following the call. So let's get into it. Policy Council basics. Why, who, and what. I do want to let you know I tried to do who, what, when, where, and why, and how. I used them all. I just didn't get them in quite the correct order. But as you know, Head Start policy councils are something that the founders understood were going to be critically important for Head Start. They wanted to make sure that parents were going to be equal and essential partners. And through the policy councils, parents have a significant and distinct voice in decisions that are being made as to how the programs operate. Councils are made up of a group of Head Start preschool. We all have to get used to start calling it Head Start preschool. That's in the new rule. Head Start preschool and early Head Start parents and community members. They are elected by the parents in the program, often after serving on parent committees. The policy council meets regularly. Regularly is a little bit amorphous a term, whether it is weekly, whether it is monthly, whether it is quarterly. And you serve 1 year at a time, but for up to 5 years, which can make a member of the policy council, which can help them gain a lot of knowledge and information in how the programs work and what they can do to help their programs. And what are the benefits of a policy council? You already know this, but basically, all children, all parents, and all programs benefit through having and using a policy council. Children learn because, they get more, they get a better experience, they get a healthier development in their Head Start program and at home. Parents, they gain skills, they get opportunities and services that they wouldn't get through other programs. And programs learn all about the strengths, the needs, the interests of the children, the families they serve, and most importantly, about the communities in which they serve. And the fact that Head Start is a program that benefits individual communities is something that we are really, really going to lean into heavily in the next couple of years. So, the important issue of today, which is when, how, and where do we empower your policy councils? And when I say empowering, it is empowering them to be helpful in advocacy. So I know that you have seen this cartoon before. Blair used it, I think, in his presentation last month. But just so you know, he's not stealing from me, or excuse me, I'm not stealing from him. He's stealing from me because this is actually a cartoon that I have been using since well before I joined NHSA. And the beauty of it here is that I know it says lobbyist on the back of this guy walking up to the Capitol, but what it is an advocate. And policy council members really are already advocates. The fact that they have stepped up and been willing to serve on a policy council makes them an advocate. So when should your policy members be activated for advocacy purposes? Honestly, as soon as they come on board, actually, if not before. Parents and community members who are willing to serve on a policy council are really effectively agreeing to be advocates before they already sign on. But with that in mind, let them know, not just when they are first elected. I was going to change that and I forgot to, but when they express an interest in joining a policy council, let them know that if they are going to be on a policy council, that advocacy by them on behalf of Head Start, about the kids, the families, and the community, the program is expected. And that's because parents, staff, policy council members, etc., they tell the most authentic and effective stories. You've probably heard me or Yasmina or Tommy or some of my other colleagues say this in the past. We do what we think is a very effective job representing Head Start and all of our programs and members on Capitol Hill, but we pale in comparison to the authenticity of the stories and the descriptions that you are all able to share when you are on the Hill, or when you have a member of Congress visiting your program, or when you are attending a candidate briefing or a community meeting that is hosted by an elected member of Congress. So, how should policy council members be activated for advocacy purposes? There's all kinds of different ways, and they're a lot more simple than you think, but they can be extremely, extremely effective. One of the top ways is just asking them to discuss the benefits of Head Start to the kids, to the parents, and to the communities in which you operate with everyone they encounter in their daily lives. Let them know how important Head Start is. Let them know the benefits that the kids and the parents are getting out of the programs. Let them know that the program has been around for almost 60 years and has served almost 40 million children and their families. A lot of people, we live, eat, and breathe Head Start on a daily basis. There are a lot of people who don't know it. I've encountered personally members of Congress who get elected and don't know a lot about Head Start. Um, they don't even know that it's a federally funded program. We've got the effort to educate them, and that starts with educating people in our communities on a daily basis. Ask them to encourage other program parents to engage in advocacy actions. If we are asking for members to show up, or for parents to show up at a community meeting, if we are asking for parents to make a phone call or send an email to their members of Congress, if we are asking parents to show up for an interaction with a member of Congress when they're doing a program visit or something like that, we really want to encourage policy councils to kind of be an extension of those parent groups and encourage other program parents to engage in those actions. Third, we want to ask you to invite your policy council members to participate in interactions that you have with state, local, and federal officials. If somebody from OHS is coming to visit the program and it's an open meeting, Don't just have staff be there. Ask your policy council members to be there. Ask parents to be there. Those things can be extremely beneficial. So, with that in mind, I have a special guest speaker who you don't know about. And that's Carrie Perkins from Idaho. I met Carrie when she was in town, I think it was almost 3 years ago now, for a um, Leadership Institute, and we went together to a meeting with Senator Rich's staff in Idaho. And Carrie has done a lot of things to help activate her parents, her policy council members, and I wanted you to be able to hear directly from somebody in the field. Because, like I said, it's those of you who are in the field who can tell a lot better story than I can. So, Carrie, I'd like to turn it over to you and let you spend a few minutes talking about the types of things that you have done to turn your parents and your policy council members into advocates.
Thank you, Bob. My name is Carrie Perkins Robles, and I'm a parent of two Head Start alum. And I've been a Head Start advocate for going on 5 years. And I currently serve as the interim chair of the Idaho Head Start Association Board, as well as being a member of the Region 10 and National Head Start Association boards. And I'm just going to share with you guys a little bit about what I've done to empower my policy council members. And so I'd like to say that whether joining the Policy Council as a parent, a former parent, or a community member, the Policy Council is a place that we have for them in the Head Start structure to form a foundation for Head Start advocacy. And this foundation plays a crucial role in the creation, support, and strengthening of the advocates of Head Start, by whose stories will ensure Head Start will be able to continue serving the children and families that need the services most. And my own journey in becoming a Head Start advocate is what has guided me in my own efforts to help support other Head Start Policy Council members achieve their greatest advocacy potential. And my own story began with childhood abuse that led to my experiencing domestic abuse as an adult. And due to these experiences with traumas, I felt as though my voice had no power and what I said didn't matter, and that no one ever listened. And I joined with having about a 0% hope that an institution or government official would ever care to listen to what I had to say or that it could make a difference. And this brings me to my first and most important lesson that I learned in my journey of becoming a Head Start advocate, that I reiterate over and over again to my policy council members as they become Head Start advocates. And this lesson is that our story gives us power. Their stories matter. Their voices matter. Their experiences matter. I inform my policy council members that their stories can impact Head Start funding by raising awareness among policymakers and the public about the program's needs and successes. My Head Start story and advocacy journey instilled a power within me I never knew I had in me all along, that I strive to instill in my policy council members as well. But you know what? I would have never felt comfortable opening up and identifying my story if it weren't for my second lesson, which is an environment that fosters advocacy. Advocates, especially new advocates, need a space where they feel respected, safe, heard, and supported. This fostering environment is what made me overcome my PTSD symptoms of anxiety and allowed me to speak up and open up, and that this time in life I believed I would be heard. I foster this environment for my policy council members as well. And this brings me to my third lesson, which is training. I have experienced the immense fear of meeting with elected officials and other people that I've never met. But what has allowed me to be a successful advocate in spite of my anxiety is my training. Sometimes participants are inadequately prepared for advocating, and sometimes without notice put into positions where they are asked to advocate. And no one feels comfortable doing something new, especially advocating, that holds such importance and can be so intimidating without being adequately prepared and trained. Now, there are those people in the world that love to talk, and talk they will. However, I have seen firsthand where these talkers don't receive the adequate training and they fail to prepare for the advocating opportunities because they aren't intimidating by speaking in front of people. And they assume that what they say about Head Start will come naturally. And let me tell you, everything does come naturally when they speak, except for the importance of Head Start. Training is essential in preparing advocates for success, and this training needs to have the different aspects, such as storytelling. I work with my policy council members to help them write their story in a way that will have the most impact and shed light on the powerful impacts Head Start has had on them. And then we focus on advocating. How do we prepare ourselves and share our Head Start story in a concise way that allows for a fluid conversation, as conversations tend to end up being sometimes? And then I work with them to help them come to have knowledge about the systems at play as well as the people that they will be meeting with. And then we all work together to identify how we can work together as a team to make the most of the advocacy opportunity and have the most lasting impact. And then, besides sharing our stories, we also think of ways that we can support advocacy in general by taking notes or by sending thank you cards or emails, just anything we can do to help promote the advocacy. And lastly, my fourth lesson is by providing ongoing information to our advocates about what is going on in the Head Start field, and also providing them with ongoing opportunities to advocate so that they can stay involved and stay advocating and stay having their voice have purpose and meaning. And so thank you guys for letting me share with you how I empower my policy council members. And I hope it'll be of useful use to you guys in advocating yours yeah. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. I really appreciate that. Like I said, you guys, whether it is Carrie or anybody else on this call or any of your parents, any of your policy council members, you tell stories much better than we ever can. I have sat in with policy council members, with staff, with parents, with all kinds of folks on Capitol Hill in meetings, including Carrie and others of you that are on this call. And Carrie, you said something at the very start. Your story gives power and your story is power. And that is so very true. So, any way that we can advocate, that we can get your policy council members to be advocates and things like that will be tremendously helpful in everything that we are trying to do. So, building on what Carrie said, where should policy councils be activated for advocacy purposes? These are easy, but sometimes you don't think of them. Invite them to attend and participate whenever an elected official visits your program. A lot of times we have a member of Congress who wants to come in and visit a program, and all they want to do, or all that is thought of by their office and by the program, is to come in, do a short, quick visit, a tour, sit down, read a book to the kids, snap some pictures, and be on their way. You know, have your staff sit down and meet with the member. Have your policy council come in and meet with the member. Get your parents to come in and meet with the member. Take as much opportunity as you can to engage with them when they are going to visit, because it's when they visit a program that they are going to really see the power of the Head Start program and understand the needs that the kids, the parents, and the community have. Second of all, is this is kind of the reason I put etc. in there and put it in bold is ask your policy council members to engage with the local media through letters to the editor and things like that when it's appropriate. If there is something going on where you are trying to get attention to Senator X or Congressperson Y, and you're having trouble getting them to visit a program, urge your policy council members, send a letter to the editor, talk about the value of the program in your community, talk about the importance of getting a member to visit, talk about the tremendous value that the program gives to the community through the number of people they employ, the number of families they serve, etc. Those are the times, those things that can be so very impactful. And that's what we want your policy councils to do. Urge them to share the benefits of Head Start and action alerts on their social media platforms. There are times when NHSA is going to reach out and say, we need you. We need to recruit parents to sign on to a letter that we're sending to the president, or we need everybody to email their members of Congress and say how important this piece of legislation or this funding issue is. You know, ask We can put that on our social media platforms. We can send out an email. But when a program sends that out, and then policy council members share it on their social media platforms, that expands the audience that we have and the potential impact that we can have on Capitol Hill. Then the last thing is, and I know this is difficult at times, and I know it comes down to a funding issue and things like that, but encourage your policy council members to attend an NHSA Leadership Institute to participate in direct advocacy on Capitol Hill. There is a lot that they can learn by attending a leadership institute, but there is also a tremendous amount that they can give in terms of the impact that they can have on Capitol Hill in the stories that they deliver. It's an interesting tidbit to share in that, we have a small number of members of Congress who attended Head Start as kids. We also have, as far as I know, an even smaller number of members of Congress who have served as Head Start Policy Council members. Congressman Tony Gonzalez, who is a Republican from outside of San Antonio, Texas, and Congressman Troy Carter, a Democrat from Louisiana, both served on policy councils before they were elected to Congress. I had the opportunity to introduce those two members to each other on Capitol Hill at our Hill rally at the Leadership Institute in September of 2023. They had not worked together before. They had not met before. And I was able to say, you don't know it, but you two have something very unique in common, and that you both served on a Head Start Policy Council. They had a great conversation. They both spoke to the crowd. And then I saw them walking away together, chatting. So, it's little things like that we can do to help build the power of the story, as Carrie said. So, we've done the who, what, when, where, why, and how. So, what is the first thing that you should ask your policy councils to do in terms of advocacy? If you haven't already, ask them to take action. You can use this QR code. You can use the website that is listed there. We've also dropped the web address into the chat. Encourage all of your policy councils to take 1 minute right away to send emails to Capitol Hill. It'll do two things. Number one, it'll send a message to their House member and their two senators. At this time, it'll encourage them for additional Head Start funding. The second thing it'll do is it'll put them on our list. So when we need to reach out to them again, anybody who has taken the opportunity to send an email will get asked to do it when we have another action alert in the future. The second thing you can ask your policy council members to do is take 5 minutes to take this tweet, this text, this opportunity to send an email to Capitol Hill and post it on their social media channels. Share it with people in their community, on their email lists, and generate even more support. In the last 2 weeks, we've had, hang on, I have a number right here. I keep track of it every day. In the last 2 weeks, we've sent 7,746 emails to Capitol Hill. That seems like a lot, but we need to generate a lot more. And policy council members can take a leadership role in helping make that happen. So that is it. That is 28 minutes. I don't know, Courtney, if we normally do Q&A in this. I am happy to stick around for a couple of minutes and answer some specific questions if people have them. Otherwise, that's it. Thank you for taking the time. Join us again next month. We're going to be talking about program visits. Audrey, the answer to your question is yes. We will be sharing this broadly with everyone. Please go back to the second to the last slide. I can do that. Hang on one second. I assume it is this one that somebody was talking about. Diane, is that the one that you were looking for? All right, everyone. Well, oh, one before that. This one, we're going to share these slides with everyone who has registered for this. So you will get these and be able to share them with your policy councils. Again, everyone, thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for all that you do. Activate your policy councils. And if you need anything, give me a call, send me an email. I look forward to continuing to work with all of you. Thank you very much.